Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Repeat Rod, and today we're going to be going over another build list for the minigun in Deep Rock Galactic. This is the starting weapon for the gunner, and I'm just going to be going through two different builds that I use pretty frequently with this. There's plenty of other ones you could use, and I'll be going over the minigun strengths. I'm going to be using this site, which once again is karl.gg/build. This I would recommend for anybody wanting to do any sort of theory crafting in this game, because you can actually select any of these and it will show you exactly what is all being changed, whether it be your DPS, your total damage, your rate of fire in this case, whatever it might be. You can also search up all your overclocks and build whatever build you would like here. For this, I'm not going to be going over overclocks because overclocks change builds quite a lot. Also, I haven't got the chance to use all of them, so I don't really want to cover overclocks just yet. So I would like to at least try these before I use them. So let's begin. At tier 1, our first ability is magnetic refrigeration, which gives us 1.5 cooling rate. This makes it so your gun can cool down faster. Cooldown is kind of nice, but if you're not causing your gun to overheat too often, you probably won't have to worry about it. That can be an issue for newer players because, you just want to fire the minigun full speed all the time. But overheating your minigun can kind of suck. We have improved motor. This is just +4 more rate of fire, which is a lot for the minigun. That, as you can see, gives you 20 more damage per second, which is quite a bit. This one can be good. I enjoy taking this one with certain builds. It can definitely be used with overclocks to counter some of their negatives, which is when I take it more frequently. But it's still a pretty good choice right away because more damage per second is always nice. Then we have improved platform stability. This makes it so you have 80% reduction in your base spread, which is pretty good because the minigun starts out pretty inaccurate when it's spinning to get started up. It becomes extremely accurate when it's firing, at full speed. But getting it started up like this makes it so you're not hitting, or makes it so you're not missing shots as often. With the first build, I usually pick this just because this one's kind of nice. You won't be missing as many shots. You can be a bit more accurate. At least to smaller enemies that are coming every once in a while whenever you get breaks. It's just kind of a handy little upgrade to your minigun. At tier 2, we have the oversized drum. This just gives you +600 to your max ammo. So instead of carrying 2,400, you'll carry 3,000. Pretty straightforward, pretty great. Your other choice here is high velocity rounds. This just gives +2 more damage to your minigun, going up to 12, which does increase your damage per second quite a lot and your total damage quite a lot. Both of these are great. I have used both of them and haven't been disappointed at all. I tend to go for the oversized drum just to make the most out of the minigun. Having that extra ammo is really nice when you have to call in a resupply. Then you get 1,500 rounds for your minigun rather than 1,200. So that's pretty great. High velocity rounds is not a bad choice though. If you want to take that, you can. You're not really missing out on that much damage, and you are getting more damage per second if you take this. So this one's kind of more your choice. At tier 3, we have hardened rounds. This makes it so you have +200% armor breaking capacity. So this just makes it so anything that's armored you can break through much easier, which is nice because the minigun can do a lot of damage per second, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage per shot, and armor is based on damage per shot. So you won't be doing a whole lot with this. You can actually tear through some enemies a lot better, like the guards. Then we have stun duration, which is just you get 1 more second of stun if you stun an enemy with the minigun. Minigun can stun things pretty easily. Increasing the stun isn't really a bad thing. It's always kind of nice, especially if you have somebody like a scout who can quickly get behind whatever you stun and then shoot it with like their boomstick or their submachine guns or rifle or whatever it might be. So yeah, stun's not bad. And then we have blow through rounds. This makes it so you get +1 penetration. So this makes it so you can punch through one enemy and into another enemy with the minigun. This one's pretty great too. It's really good for crowds because you can just kind of mow everything down and do it a little bit more effectively because you're sometimes getting the bonus of 2 rounds with just 1 bullet. So that's pretty nice. For this one, I tend to take either the hardened rounds for the armor breaking or the blow through. It depends on what I want. If I want more direct target damage, then I'm going to take armor piercing rounds. If I want to kill crowds a little bit easier, I tend to go with blow through rounds. You can take stun duration here too. Stun duration is fine. But for this, I'm going to say blow through rounds is what I'm going to take with this particular build. At tier 4, we have variable chamber pressure, which makes it so after your gun is fully spun up and firing at full speed, then you will be doing 15% bonus damage to all enemies. This is pretty nice because that's when your minigun is the most effective and just the most devastating to a single target, is when it's really accurate, when you're not having a ton of spread out and you're just hammering one target a lot. So yeah, that one's pretty good. I do like that one. We have light barrel assembly. This makes it so you have faster spin up time, so you don't have to wait for your gun to spin up as long before it starts shooting. That's kind of useful. We have magnetic bearings, which gives you more spin down time. You have 3 additional seconds of spin down time. So this makes it so your gun takes much longer to fully stop spinning from where it was, which can be good in certain situations. If you're just having kind of a trickling stream of enemies coming in and you're, starting up, killing something, you see another one started up, kill something, see another one started up, kill something, you're gradually getting more and more accurate without having to worry about your gun becoming the base accuracy without it spinning up. So that's not bad either. For this one, I generally go with variable chamber pressure just to have that extra damage. It's pretty nice for killing just about anything, so that's why I take it. The other two aren't bad either. They're all pretty decent, but I tend to go with this one. And then in tier 5, we have aggressive venting. This makes it so after overheating your minigun, you do 60 heat damage and have a 100% chance of applying fear to all enemies within a 10-meter radius. Now, applying 100% fear to all enemies within a 10-meter radius is actually really good, because it pretty much means as soon as your gun stops shooting, everything else gets away from you. And you're probably, at least if you play like me, you're going to go, oh crap, wait, my minigun's empty now. Okay, well, at least everything's away from me. I can run away, or I can throw my shield or whatever it is, or switch to my secondary and kind of fend them off a bit better. So it's not bad for that, and applying heat damage is pretty nice to catch things on fire. That's a pretty useful ability on it. So this one is not a bad choice. We have Cold as the Grave next, which makes it so every time you kill an enemy, it takes away heat from your heat meter on your minigun. So it will overheat slower if you keep killing enemies. This one's great. This one works really well to just constantly be able to engage targets from one to the next. I really like this one. And then our last one is hot bullets. This makes it so after the heat meter hits red on your minigun, there will be an indicator on the side. You'll have to kind of watch for it or just know what it is after so long playing. This makes it so 50% of the damage per shot that you hit gets added to heat, which can ignite enemies, and then you'll deal fire damage if you ignite somebody on fire. This one can also be pretty useful, especially for people that are very good at managing the heat on their minigun, who can keep it up very high and still do a lot of the burning damage. It is kind of another thing that you have to be watching out for, so I don't take it too often because I'm usually preoccupied with other stuff going on in the match. The one I go for here is Cold as the Grave, and this is generally like my basic minigun build. So this just makes it so I have less base spread when I start shooting. I have more bullets, so I get more from the resupply. I can punch through multiple enemies, so it's better against crowds. More damage once it fully gets spinned up, so then I can really hammer one target pretty well with it. And then Cold as the Grave just to clear out any sort, or just so that I can continually fire against small enemies in particular. The second build is a bit similar, but more damage oriented and more towards big enemies. This is kind of towards small and biggish enemies, but mostly towards small enemies thanks to the ones that I chose here. So with the improved damage build, then I usually go with the improved motor. That way I get a higher rate of fire to deal damage to enemies. Once again, at tier 2, you could pick oversized drum or high velocity rounds. Both are really good. If you want more damage per second, then definitely go with high velocity rounds. If you want better pickups from resupplies, then go with oversized drums. But for this, I'm going to go with high velocity rounds. I would go with hardened rounds. This way I can injure anything that has armor much easier. Once again, going with more damage once the gun is fully spun up. And then it's really your call here on the tier 5 one. You could go with aggressive venting. This way, if your gun does overheat, you can still scare enemies away, deal potentially more damage to them, and catch them on fire, which is nice. You could go with Cold as the Grave, trying to manage your heat from getting too high by killing smaller enemies, or potentially bigger enemies in this case. Or hot bullets to make sure that you get more damage on target if you can kind of play with your bar. For this, I would say hot bullets would be my pick. but any of these are actually really good. So these would be my 2 builds for the minigun. The minigun's a really fantastic weapon. I play gunner probably the most out of any of the classes, and the minigun is a pretty fun weapon. I don't use it as much as I use the autocannon. I find the autocannon a little bit better for at least the uses that I have. Plus, I haven't, unfortunately, got all of the overclocks for the minigun. I'm missing, I think, just this one, which is Leadstorm, which seems like it's one of the best ones. So I want to try that, and then I could review the overclocks for the minigun. So until then, I sadly can't. But this has been my builds for the minigun and Deep Rock Galactic. Hopefully it helps somebody out. Tell me if you guys would like to see any more of these type of videos and what weapon you would like to see next. I'm pretty much down to making lists for any of them. These are a lot of fun to make. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. I really do appreciate it. If you guys are new here, be sure that you're subscribed. That way you get notifications whenever I post anything new. And I will talk to all of you guys next time. Till then, stay cool and bye.